Hey guys, what is up? Vero here. I'm currently on my Resto Druid and I've been wanting to make this video for a while now. I tried making it before and then it just ended up not happening, and then I tried making it again last week and then I realized I didn't have my mouse cursor turned on, and that is kind of important, so I'm finally redoing this video. I'm currently dog and house sitting for a family friend for a couple days, so if you hear random barking in the background, I'm going to try to edit it out as best as I can. And she also has hardwood flooring, so sometimes their nails make sounds, but again I'm going to try to edit that out. But basically what this video is about, it is about healing add-ons. We will be going over default, Healbot, grid, and VuhDo, and then other, I guess. Kind of going over pros and cons, just kind of my own personal experience with them, and then I have some suggestions or some screenshots from Twitter from people that also listed their pros and cons. So let's get started. Alright, so I turned off my add-on, which I normally use an add-on called VuhDo, or VuhDo, depending on how you want to call it, which is normally placed right here, which I will go over. But first we are actually going to be going over the default UI. The default raid frames are actually not that bad. It's great, you know, if maybe you're just starting out. My problem with them is I can't actually fit them in this little space because you can't actually make them any smaller. So the basics of them, you have to click to cast, which I am now used to not having to do, so that's kind of annoying. Some other pros of it is it already has all of the built-in icons. If I had any debuffs, it would also show that, but I don't have any, so that's not going to matter. A lot of people that still use the default frames, which is fine, they will pair it with a rollover, a mouse over macro, where you just have to hover over this, click the button, and then it'll heal based off macros, which I will list just kind of a basic one in the description box below in case you want to play around with them. Now for the downside. I kind of wish it was more customizable than it actually is. So the interface for it does have raid profiles that you can set up. Last time I used this, it never actually changed them based off the raid size, which was a little annoying. You can display incoming heals, which comes in handy if you can tell someone else is healing a target. It displays aggro highlight, which, you know, is nice if you're a tank and you see someone else getting attacked. You can do the main tank and assist, which I usually have that off. The border I usually have off. You can turn the power bars on and off. It's very basic in customization, which is the one reason that I no longer use it, because I wanted to be able to make mine a lot smaller if I was in somewhere, say like AV, or, you know, maybe I wanted to make them a lot bigger, which that's a little too big. That is not what she said. Sorry. You can also sort it by role, group, or alphabetical. I usually sort by role, so it's tanks, healers, and then DPS, unless I'm raiding 10-man, and it is by groups. And I don't have too many issues with the default frames. Again, it's very simplistic in its entirety, and it's great for maybe someone starting out because you can start pairing it with something, an add-on called Click, which allows you to click cast. You can also pair it with something like mouse over macros, and then you can decide from there if you want to expand into an add-on that already has that kind of included in it. So let's go to the Twitter responses. So first we have from Tyrael. She said, I have trouble spotting debuffs with the default raid frames, and my bars get cluttered with keybinds. We also have one from Neon Dwarf, who said, using stock frames really pushes you to use keybinds rather than clicking. I find anyway, mouse is too busy clicking the frames. And then Miss Curlface, not that I have lately, but they don't offer enough customization for my liking as far as info displayed. And I agree with that, because there's some buffs that I want to see and some buffs that I don't want to see. And then there's some debuffs that I want to see and some debuffs that I do not want to see. So that's it for default raid frames. Now we're going to go into grid. Alright, so I have Healbot. I have the default raid frames hidden, and this is grid. And FYI, I'm using all of these in their default frames, like in their default settings, unless like the default I kind of had slightly customized. But this is actually grid 2 instead of grid. It has, from what I've been told by other people, it offers a little bit more customization. and that is one reason that I tried using it for a while, but I just couldn't get it to look exactly how I want. As you can see, these are my hots currently in their default setting. Actually, regrowth isn't going to be a hot. Whoops. Let's do wild growth, which I like that it displays hots, but I prefer to see them based off their icon rather than just a timer. I prefer that. But these are the general settings of Grid. As you can tell, there's a lot more settings to change when it comes in comparison to the default, which is really great. I feel like the more customization there is, it can be a little overwhelming at first, but I feel like after a while you kind of get used to it. So you can change the height, background color, of people, inner horizontal groups, kind of change each layout. You can base it off of a group of 5 people with pets, a group of 10, 15, 25, or by a group of 40, so it should automatically change and adjust based off what kind of group you're in. Has different profiles, so if you have a profile for one character, you can save it for other ones. Some debugs, info, and then the indicators are what appear in the corners, so you can adjust any debuffs that you may need to add. Like if there's a certain debuff on a boss mechanic that is not showing up, you can add it. For buffs, you can display yours, you can change its color, you can make it an obnoxiously bright pink color if I wanted to. I can make it blank, I can track by spell ID if I really want to. I can show a number of stacks, I can do the color count, show if missing too. So there does offer a little bit more variety, and if you are having trouble setting up Grid, I recommend searching YouTube and just kind of Google in general and finding a video on how to set it up, because I have only used Grid like once or twice, so definitely not the person to ask. You can also display shield, so if you're a Disc Priest, for instance. But again, this is in its default settings. It also requires you to press your keybinds. So what a lot of people also do is they use rollover macros for this, or they also use the add-on called Click. And I didn't mention this before, but I will list all the add-ons mentioned in this video in the description box below. So for me, the pros of this, it is much more customizable than the default raid frames. It offers a lot more things that you can change and adjust to your liking. For the cons, it can be a little overwhelming at first. I don't like how the indicators are displayed. You can see I'm right now grouped with Pippi from the WoW forums, and it looks like she's dying. Because I told her I'm on a PvP server to be careful, but she said she didn't care. So hi Pippi, if you're watching this. So as I was saying, I don't really like how the indicators are displayed. I prefer actual icons or something more identifiable than just like a color, because it's going to change based off different characters, and sometimes I don't know, I prefer to see icons rather than colors. I am also very used to not having to click my key bindings anymore, so if I used Grid, I would probably pair it with mouse over macros and or Click, most likely Click. So let's go to Twitter once again. So Cinnamon, I've used all 3. I think out of the 3 I would say Grid was my fave, although since Mist I've been using LVI and love it. It really comes down to personal preference though, trying them out and seeing which feels best for you, which is definitely true. We also have another comment from Girlface, and for some reason her name's highlighted, I'm not really sure. I've always used hotkeys plus Grid, only use Click for dispels. Main drawback is the plugins. While useful, they aren't the best at updating and sometimes screw you on a patch. I think a lot of people prefer VuhDo now that I've been using Grid since, to be honest, so I'm sentimental. And then last comment is from Nash. I use Grid and Click. It's very dynamic and I love it, but it's limited button combos with Control, Shift, and Alt. Alright, so let's go into the next add-on. The next one that we will be looking at is Healbot. Alright, so here is Healbot in its default settings. This is actually the first add-on that I use to heal with. This is a click to cast, so if I left click, I get a regrowth. If I middle click, I get a rejuve, and if I right click, I get a healing touch. That is in its complete default settings, as I was saying. So let's pull up, might help if I type in Healbot and not Healbit. I don't know what I'm trying to type. Alright, so these are the settings for Healbot. A lot of people prefer this add-on because it already has the click to cast built in. It's rather simplistic in comparison to the other ones if you're wanting something a little bit better than the default frames, but you're not quite ready for something like Grid or VuhDo. It's definitely seems a little bit easier to set up. Again, I used this when I first started healing in Wrath of the Lich King. I stopped using it because I just wasn't really a huge fan of it anymore. But you can change whatever spell you want. You can also use Shift click, Alt click, Control Alt click if you need to. So like Control click, if I actually had a corruption on me, would remove it. And it actually shows you in here when you click the button what it does. I don't have anything set for those, so it's not going to show. But it also has different skins that you can change to. So there's Standard, Group Raid, and Alterac Valley. You can change the sizing of these. You can change the color of these. As you can see, it's quite transparent right now. Here are the different frames. That might be for something else. You can change the colors, incoming heals, background bar. Like right now the opacity. It's quite transparent. Oh, I think I did accidentally change that frame. There we go. So you can make it a little bit bigger if you like really, really huge ones. You can see the icons that are popping up for all of my buffs, which that's what I really like to see are icons, as opposed to a specific color, because I heal on several different characters, so it just makes it a little bit easier. Enemy stuff, include your target, icons, icon text if you want to change it. You change how the icon's displayed, you could make it smaller. Sorry, I'm yawning. Do mouse wheel, you can make the mouse wheel do something. Let's see. Random mount. See what that does. No. It doesn't work. It's just zooming in and out. Okay, never mind. But again, Healbot is extremely basic, so the pros for it, it is basically kind of like the default raid frames, except it's like a little upgraded version of it. It has built-in click to cast, which is what a lot of people prefer to heal with, just because it makes things a little bit more simplistic. You can see I can just sit here and left click until I'm blue in the face, or until the Tauren come home. For the cons, it's not as customizable as something as I would like. I really like to dive into an add-on and just really customize it. I also visually just don't like how the default of it looks. I mean, I know you can change it, but I kind of wish the default looked a little nicer. It's this bright green color that is just not very pretty. So again, let's go to Twitter. So AC said, I like Healbot due to the spell icon appears on the raid frames and can alter to show boss debuffs, i.e. Malkorok's shields. Then I have one from Heather. Pros of Healbot, ease of use, lots of freedom for key bindings. Cons, I think it's pretty ugly. That is very true. It's an extremely ugly add-on. From Christacat, I like Healbot. It's very customizable. It's very small on the screen, so I can still see what's going on and I can move freely. Alright, so that is it for Healbot. Again, it is a very simplistic add-on if you're just kind of wanting to test the waters of using an add-on outside of the default frames. It's fairly easy to set up, it's fairly easy to customize, although visually I think it's one of the ugliest add-ons that is out there. Again, you can customize it and change it, but I just don't like it. And another con that I actually forgot to mention was I fielded with people in the past in my raid that have used Healbot, and it seemed like they always have it going back to default settings. It randomly stops working in the middle of a raid. It stops displaying things even though it's supposed to, and it just seems like it has more troubles and problems than it does helping someone actually heal. And it also seems like it's always broken on patch day, even with an update, but that's just my observation from seeing other people use it. Alright, so the next add-on we are going to go into is VuhDo, which is the one that I actually used to heal with, so I will be able to kind of offer more of an opinion on this because of that. Alright, so here is VuhDo. This is my personal setting, so right click is rejuve, middle click is regrowth, and then left click is actually target. And that is because sometimes I want to target someone for something and I want to do it quickly and easily. But I'm going to show you what the default settings of VuhDo looks like. The main reason I swapped to VuhDo was I was setting up this new UI, and grid and the default frames did not sit in this little area. So I wanted something that I could fit there, and where I got the idea from this, they were actually using VuhDo, so I wanted to try it out. Boyfriend uses VuhDo to heal with, and so does, and so do some other healers that I know. So this is VuhDo in its complete default settings. As you can see, it's not actually showing icon colors. It has private tanks and main tanks. A lot of people like private tanks because I think that's what people use when they heal something like Sulong or the Neuroshin fight where you have to heal the adds, because you can add them to there. I just click on the actual screen, but maybe that's just me. Alright, so pros for VuhDo, it is extremely customizable, which that is also a con, because if you're not used to using this, it can be extremely overwhelming. As you can see, there are dozens of tabs, well, not dozens, but there's quite a few tabs there. There's a lot up here, there's different colors, it can be extremely overwhelming at first. I was completely distraught by this add-on and was just like, oh my god, I don't think I can set this up. But I kind of stuck with it and I set it up, and I actually like how it looks. I made that bigger so it's a little bit easier to see. But you can pretty much change anything. You can add text, you can change your hot icons, you can actually make them look like icons. So now it'll show an icon instead of that. I can show stacks off, I can just have text. Kinda whatever you want to display. You can also have the roll icon, make that empty since there's two there. It also has an AoE assist, which I actually generally turn off because I think it's extremely obnoxious, but some people like it, and that's fine. My one complaint is with the debuffs, is sometimes it shows a lot of debuffs that I don't actually want to see on a boss fight because it doesn't really matter. For instance, on Durumu and Throne of Thunder, it shows every single debuff from the yellow and the blue and the red beams, and if everyone in the raid got in that beam, you end up having like 3 debuffs on each person. It's the most annoying thing. But it's really easy to remove something, so you can click on it and then delete it. I'm not actually going to delete that because that would probably be bad effects. I only deleted the wrong thing. So that's what I usually do, is after a boss fight, if I notice that my frames were overwhelmed with debuffs, I end up deleting them. So again, this is the add-on that I use. I actually found it extremely awkward at first when I first used it because it was really weird for me to be, clicking and healing that way, but I heal this way in both PvP and PvE. I have no trouble moving and healing, which is also why sometimes I prefer to target heal, so if I need to and I'm running around and I have to heal, which is, it's a little bit easier as a druid, obviously, and I can't necessarily do that for whatever reason, I find it a little bit easier. Again, con is it's extremely customizable and it can be a little scary at first for maybe the average user. So we have some from Cassandra. Number 1, pro is that you can get it customized to about 95% perfection in a minute or two, then spend hours tweaking it how you want, which is exactly true. And its stable install tends to function just fine. Load out-of-date add-ons never failed me as patches roll out. And she also has an old blog post with her opinions in it. We also have one from Tyrael, super customizable debuffs, lots of options, easy to swap between characters, specs, etc. Con, difficult to set up the first time. The interface is a hideous shade of light blue. Agreed. Now that I have set up VuhDo for my druid, I've actually been able to set it up for all of my characters, so you will notice. So I even still get lost when I'm moving around this stupid thing. That is not where I meant to go. You can also test. I also like that. So you can see what it looks like if I had 25 people in there. That looks completely hideous, but, default settings, again. There we go, that's what I was looking for. So as you can see, I have several different ones. I have some for my priest that I heal with, I have some for my other priest, I have one for DPS, my monk. A lot of these I actually need to just delete. But if you are planning to use VuhDo, the default one that I ended up using, the setup one, was VuhDo Grid, because it looks, if you want something that kind of looks like Grid, actually that's not what I ended up using, I lied. I don't think I actually used the default one. For this character, I think I used Druid. There we go. So that is what my frames look like. It took a while to customize that. If anyone actually would like me to make a video on how I customized VuhDo or VuhDo or however you want to call it to look like this, I have no problem making a video. That's actually what it looks like with 25 man, because I forgot that I still had that turned on. Again, I recommend testing out each add-on. Kind of look at one that maybe interests you, see if you like it, find out what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and then maybe try a different add-on, because that's what I ended up doing. I started with Healbot, I eventually went back to default. I tried out mouse over macros, and I just wasn't really a fan of them personally. Then I tried Grid for a little bit, and I just didn't like it. I tried VuhDo, and I just got extremely overwhelmed, and I went back to default. And then finally I said, you know, I'm going to try an add-on again. Tried Grid again, set it up. Didn't like how it looked. Didn't like the indicators. Just didn't like it in general, because I had to pair it with something else. I wanted something with everything built in, and that's why I ended up choosing VuhDo. So this video is fairly simplistic in the pros and cons, because once again, it's all personal preference, so you kind of have to figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and I almost just fell off a cliff. Thank you for watching. Have a good day, and goodbye. Alright, so I forgot about one more add-on that I actually wanted to show. Now, I've never actually looked at this add-on. This add-on is called Helium. I've seen pictures of it, and it looks quite atrocious, but I thought it would be kind of funny to actually see what it looks like. That's not so bad. Oh, we actually have to add a spell for each one. Well, this is stupid. Okay. So, Helium, the way it is designed... Oh, pets? I don't want to heal your pet. You can heal your own pet. What is it? Helium. Oops. Okay, I can't find where you're supposed to edit that on. Helium. Oh god. Use class colors. Yes, please. Hide captions. Yes, please. Oh my god, this is... Oh god, you have to actually like... Okay, rejuve. Regrowth. Swiftman. Nourish. No one uses nourish. Innervate. You didn't get my innervate. Alright, so this is what Helium looks like. So you actually, instead of clicking on the actual person, I can't click on Pippi since she's not next to me, you click on this little icon next to it. That is really stupid. So right now I'm in a group of 2 people, so it's actually not going to be that bad. But could you imagine if I was in a 10-man raid right now, there'd be 10 of these. I don't think I could heal this way. This just seems really counterproductive. And really annoying. Like, that is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I mean, you can actually click on people too. That's really atrocious. And then, if I was in a battleground, oh my god, imagine what that would, oh god, I want to see. Let's join the battleground, and then, oh, okay, she can't queue with me. Oh yeah, I'm gonna queue solo. Has been blocked. See, even Blizzard knows. Why are you using this add-on, you crazy person? Yeah, so Helium would definitely be an add-on that I do not recommend. As you can see why, it is extremely clunky. It's quite ugly. You literally have to click everything. I mean, maybe you can macro this stuff, but even if you could, you still have, you know, if you're in a 10-man raid, you're gonna have, like, this entire thing filled up. Well, this, you know, it just covers two little shiny squares. Oh, that is just ugly. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't recommend this add-on. Don't use this add-on. Try something else. So, thank you once again for watching. If you have any pros or cons on any of the add-ons that I listed, please let me know in the comment section below, and, you know, other people might find it helpful. If you have any questions about any of these add-ons, I will try to answer them. If I cannot answer them myself, I will try to find you the answer. And again, if you want to see a video on how I set up VuhDo, or VuhDo, or whatever you want to call it, I will happily do that if people want that. And yeah, so let me know in the comment section what add-on you use and why. So thank you guys once again for watching. This add-on is just, I want to go into an AV and see what it looks like, but Blizzard won't let me. Smart Blizzard. But again, thank you guys for watching. Sorry, a little ADD. Thanks for watching. I think I've said that like 20 times. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and goodbye. May the healing be ever in your favor.